Do you feel like this close win against the Panthers is cause for concern?
It does. It does concern me because, what is it, 8 of their wins have come by 1 score this season. You just look at stuff like that, guys, and help me out, both of y'all. Here's how I look at it. When you see a champion, you're coming after them or whatever, but ultimately champions humble you, especially ones who are great like Patrick Mahomes, right? If you get an opportunity to keep knocking on the door, knocking on the door, knocking on the door, and everywhere you look, it's one play here or there, damn, you could have had him, you could have had him. It elevates the competition's confidence. They think they got a shot. Yeah, they got to be a bit better than normal. Yeah, they can't afford to make the mistakes that they could afford to make against other people because they know the champion that they're dealing with. But when week after week after week, it's that tight, eventually you do find yourself saying, they can't continue to live on this. Something's got to give. The only reason I feel slightly different about the Kansas City Chiefs, Pacheco's going to be back. You know he's going to be back. D-Hop's not going to get worse, okay? And so you look at it from that standpoint. Travis Kelce, regardless of his struggles, you just believe that this future Hall of Famer is going to be there, Shay, when it counts. So, of course, you look at them and you say, they're going to get healthier at certain positions, and maybe that's the reason you don't worry about it. But as presently constructed, if teams keep getting that close to you, especially somebody like the Carolina Panthers, if you're another NFL team, you're like, wait a minute, we could take these brothers. I do believe that happens.
Shay?
When you look at Kansas City, it's getting harder and harder for them to protect Patrick Mahomes. And that's why if you look at Patrick Mahomes, they were 8 of 13 on third down. Tedy, you know, if Coach, y'all allow a team to go 8 of 13 on third down, Coach Belichick's going to lose his mind. Patrick Mahomes had a clean game, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, but it's getting harder and harder for them to protect him. That's why these games are so close. And when they get into the red zone, they're having to kick field goals instead of scoring touchdowns. Now, we've seen 2 weeks in a row that defense wasn't what it was the previous year and a half. And so now teams are getting closer and closer. So what happens? The defense doesn't do what it's been doing the last 2 weeks notwithstanding. And Patrick Mahomes has one of those games. They're going home. That's why we love football so much, because the best team doesn't always win. The team that plays particularly best that day would normally win. And that's the thing that I'm seeing. I see Trent McDuffie giving up plays that he normally gave up, getting PI calls that he normally wouldn't get. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And it's a cause for concern for me.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, they see the big picture, but I think they also see the problems in terms of fatal flaws that they have. All right, the big picture is this. Winning or losing at games this time of year, you win, it's all for positioning. And the positioning for the Kansas City Chiefs, they see it, they want the #1 seed, they want the bye, and they don't care how they get it. If they got to kick field goals at the end of the game and Patrick Mahomes got to do miraculous things like that 33-yard scramble, they'll do it. They see that. But they also see that there's a fatal flaw on the offensive line. Patrick Mahomes getting sacked 5 times. Love the interior. All right, Creed, Humphrey, Trey Smith, Joe Tooney. Those guys are great players. The weakness is the tackles. Stephen A., you talked about it. 5 sacks. At any point in any game in the last 2 minutes, a strip sack ends your season. It ends the game. It can be the difference between a win or a loss. So that's the fatal flaw. I'm telling you, people are coming into these games against the Kansas City Chiefs and saying, we can beat them. We can beat them. But I'm telling you, the fear creeps in when there's 2 minutes left and it's still close, and they realize there's Patrick Mahomes on the other side, and then that same result happens. So they know how to win. Patrick said it perfectly after the game. You'd want it a certain way, but these guys are battle-hardened, and I wouldn't doubt them not in any moment.
I agree with you, but I would say this to you. What about this notion? What about the fact that there's 2 minutes left and you're the one with the ball? Because we're looking at the Chiefs' defense that's given up more than 330 yards on offense over the last 2 games, which is an aberration compared to what we've seen them look like. As their offense struggled this year, we religiously talked about the defense and how Spagnuolo had those brothers playing. That's not the case now. They only pressured Bryce Young on 7 of like 35, 7 of 35 pass attempts, a 27% rate. So when you're looking at an inability to get to the quarterback, when you're seeing them give up more yards than usual, when you're seeing them give up more points than usual, and you know their offense wasn't what it once was, it does find you saying, wait a minute now, something a little bit different. Again, it contributes to the notion they could be had.
So there's problem solving.
I agree.
There's problem solving within the year that great teams know that they have to have. Offensively, what'll they do at the offensive tackle position? I think they signed Humphreys last week. Okay, right. Defensively, do you trust the coaches? Do you trust the players? When you see problem solving and the little dips that you may have during the season, and these dips, if you have them and you're still winning, it's a good thing. So I think they see, that's what the good teams can recognize within wins, that you still have problems. You heard Mahomes express that, and you know guys like McDuffie, Karlaftis, Jones. Jones got run through on the goal line, and that was one of the most surprising things I saw yesterday on Sunday was when Chris Jones one-on-one, it might have been Hubbard that ran right through him for a touchdown, and that should never happen. Those things got to be fixed for Kansas City.
Which NFC North win stood out the most to you?
I got to go with the Minnesota Vikings. I have been absolutely not with Sam Darnold the entire year. I've been waiting for the old Sam Darnold to come out, the one that makes bad decisions that put the ball in harm's way, throwing interceptions, fumbles, everything that I'm used to seeing from Sam Darnold. I've been waiting for it. Has there been a little bit? Yes, but not enough. This is a 9-win football team. This kid's got a career high, like you mentioned already, Molly, in touchdown passes, in that overtime drive. I mean, there was a sack also possibly by Sweat that had him. He held on to the football, came back after that, fired it down the field. I'm starting to be a Sam Darnold fan. I mean, it took me 12, 13 weeks. Okay, it took me a little while to get on the train because I just am waiting for it to happen. And Kevin O'Connell, just the job that he's doing with him, it seems like the quarterback-head coach relationship is there. Pair that with the defense in a one-game scenario down the line. I mean, say it's wild card or divisional if they play the Detroit Lions. Can they do it in one game? And can Sam play good enough to beat them? I think so. That's how much that I've been impressed by the Vikings. I know it was Chicago, but it was stressful situations that Darnold was in the entire game, and he continued to perform, take care of the football, on fire the last couple weeks. So Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings, very impressed by that.
Absolutely, Shannon. I think he's happy he's not a Jet anymore.
Yes, considering that he had, 10 wins in his career, and now he has 9 in one season with the Minnesota Vikings. Tedy, I agree with you, because it was a divisional win on the road. And you and I both know how hard it is to win divisional games on the road, no matter what the record are. I don't care what it is. There's something about a division opponent when you have familiarity and they know you, you know them. It's a division opponent. You're going to play them twice a year. Occasionally, you'll get them 3 times because both of you guys make the playoffs and you ended up facing them again. But I was really impressed with Sam Darnold. And on a day that the Chicago Bears did a great job of taking away Justin Jefferson from him, he had to go elsewhere to get production, and he got it from Addison. 8 catches, a $162 and a touchdown. He got it, T.J. Hawkinson, 7 for 114. Those guys showed up even when they took the best player away in Justin Jefferson. And Sam Darnold said, you know what? I'm not going to force it. I believe these other guys, Addison, Hawkinson, I believe they can make plays. And Aaron Jones ran the ball sensational. Stephen A., that was another guy that would have looked good in a Dallas Cowboy uniform, considering he's from the Cowboys. Damn, all these running backs that's running wild. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Henry, Aaron Jones. Damn, I mean, Cowboys couldn't use any of those guys, Stephen A. Go ahead.
Couldn't use any of them.
But I got Minnesota over Chicago.
Couldn't use any of them, and that's where you get me with the damn Jerry Jones comment, because you're absolutely right. I let him off the hook on that damn stuff. I mean, and I shouldn't have with the running back. But that's where it's most egregious. So you got me there because there's too many of them that was out there. For you to pass on all of that and to bring back Ezekiel Elliott. What the hell was going on? All right, so you got me there. But I'm going to tell y'all this. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions because I don't consider Indianapolis that bad. But most importantly, fellas, I just think that every single week we're waiting for everything to drop off at least a little bit from the Detroit Lions, and they seem to be elevating themselves. So when I'm looking at them, it doesn't matter who they're going up against, what the situation is, what the circumstances are. They're just moving along. They ain't playing. And I mean, this is a team that's playing like somebody who believes they should have been in the Super Bowl last year. They don't think San Francisco beat them. They think they blew it. And they seem to be playing like a team that's hell-bent on showing us all they blew it. They didn't maximize the opportunity that was presented to them, and they're not going to let that happen again. That seems to be the mission that they're on, and they're playing like it. And when you're a subpar team, they step on the football field and they treat you like you are subpar and show you there's levels to this.
Yeah.
That's what I'm peeling from Detroit that I'm not getting from most of the other teams in the league.